Hello and welcome to the latest instalment of the Women's Supporters Group podcast. As always, I'm joined by Kat and Alan. How are you both doing?
Doing all right. No, it's been a long week, but it's been good.
Kat, anything ahead?
I mean, I'm scunnered. I was doing all right until I watched the highlights back to do this, and now I'm just raging again. So we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll not linger too long on it. We'll just head straight in. Obviously, we're in Champions League action down in London, if you can even call it that, kind of the outskirts of London. So we took on Arsenal first, and the team that started was Essen, Rafferty, Hill, Docherty, Eddie, McLaughlin, Howitt, Hay, Arnott, Hardy, and Wilkinson. Fairly attacking lineup that car, considering who we were up against.
Yeah, going by the bench, I think we had to, because it was a bit all over the place in the midfield, with Liv basically being on her own and then Leah Eddie basically being in beside her. But Chelsea out injured. Excuse me. Christian McLean out injured. We seemed to be a bit light in that area. So I get what she was trying to do. It didn't come off in the end, but probably couldn't have played it any other way. Maybe Tess in the midfield instead of Leah Eddie potentially. But yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, just sticking with you, Kat. Obviously, we started the game as well as we probably could. We kept Arsenal out. They were taking kind of waves and waves of attack, taking shots, but we were doing quite well. But then the 60th minute, Arsenal score, but we managed to still, after that, somehow keep more goals for going in. And then it got to the second half and it all kind of fell apart a bit. We came out, me and Macaulay came on, and then it kind of just, once the goals started going in after that, it was just kind of one after the other.
Yeah, I mean, we did start really well the first half. All in all, was actually pretty good. Lizzie, I thought, really had an excellent first half. Liv McLaughlin had a really good first half. And really, they shouldn't have scored. We should have kept that goal out. Vic needs to do a little bit better there to either catch a ball or punch it out, do something with it, but just doesn't have a strong enough hand to keep it out, unfortunately. But the rest of the half, we kept them at bay. Whether they were at full pelt the first half, I don't know, because they really turned it up a notch in the second half, and I don't even think that was them full bore the way that they could go. So it wasn't great. The second half, 2 quick goals, one after the other, just kind of tore us apart. And we didn't tighten up. We didn't do what we should have done, which was just keep it tight at the back and just not let them get past. But we seemed to almost open up and make it easier for them at that point. It's like everyone's heads just dropped and they were able to just walk in a few more goals. A penalty, which is a penalty. Mia Macaulay did really well when she came on. She had a bit of joy, I think. I don't know if it was on target, but our only shot into, it didn't go in the box, it hit the side of the net, went out. But a ball that went into that area is a good thing. Me and Laura worked really well together, and then Wilco got down that side, but nothing came of it. One really good goal from them, I can't remember. I don't know if it was Rousseau or if it was Ford, if it was her hat-trick goal, but a really nice volley. But the other goals very easily stopped. We should have cut them out before they got to that point. They were just too easily past us. Just really need to do I need to do a lot better, because I don't think they played their best. I don't know if the occasion got to them or if they thought Arsenal were better than they were at that point, but just all over the place. It was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and it was kind of, the mistakes we made were some of the mistakes we seen last year in the kind of bigger games. So a bit disappointed that we've not really learned our lessons here. And once a couple of goals went in, we kind of lost our heads a bit and never kept it tight, as we were doing quite well.
Yeah, it's the same sort of goals that we were losing in the Old Firm games last season, and I'm pretty sure if I can spot that and you can spot that, then Joe and the team are going to spot that and be working on it. It's obviously not a quick fix because we keep conceding these goals in these big games, but it was an exhausting shift. Even in the big games against Celtic and City, we have a pretty even share of possession, but we just couldn't hold on to the ball against Arsenal, and it was a heavy shift that girls put in. Don't think you would use it as an excuse. It's been played on grass, but it is generally more tiring, putting that shift in on grass than it can be on our artificial parks. So, that's one thing we have to deal with, and we see that when we go and play in cup finals. Sometimes we look a bit leggier in cup finals, even when we got the ball. So this is something we have to be prepared for. But some of the goals, as Carl says, were still a bit on the disappointing side. There was some cracking finishes in the Arsenal side, but it was a bold tactic we went with. Concede the wide areas and defend the box, but we really needed something to make the ball stick and just take a bit of a breather and get the ball away from our box for a wee bit of the game, and that's just something we couldn't do.
Yeah, Car, and in our fan poll that we done, Liv got player of the match, which I think was pretty justified, but she was doing a lot of good work, but I think you could see that she was missing like Kirsten McLean and Chelsea Cornett in there beside her. She was having to do quite a lot of work with no much backup.
Yeah, I mean, she was getting the ball, she was winning the ball, so was Lizzie on the flank, but there was no out ball. There was no one to then lay the ball off to. We tried to play it from the back a couple of times, which was just getting snuffed out immediately. And then a few long balls over the top, and there was no one to get on the end of it because it was just getting cut out. So she was doing a lot of really good work, and she's not one that's scared to go in for a tackle, and you could tell that they were getting a bit annoyed with her because she was kind of biting their ankles a little bit, so to speak. But there was no out ball, there was no... Sometimes she got the ball out to Brogan when Brogan was still on in the first half, and then nothing was coming of it. So it's got to be gutting for her to do all that hard work. You can see the level that she's at. So the fact that we managed to keep her is incredible, because she could be playing, still down south at Arsenal, at Villa, if I can remember what team she came from, and doing quite well there. But she chose to stay here, and she kind of ran the show in the midfield. But she needed somebody beside her, like a Chelsea, like a Kirsten McLean, to help her a bit. But didn't have that luxury, unfortunately, on Wednesday.
Yep, so the game finished 6-0. Definitely wasn't a 6-0 game, really, but obviously that is what it ended up. So it meant we went into the kind of third place game for coefficient against Atletico after they had lost to Rosenborg. So the team for that was Fife, Docherty, Eddie, Hill, Medag, Hay, Howitt, Hardy, Macaulay, McLaughlin, and McCleary. Were you quite happy with that, Alan?
Yeah, I very much expected, with the game meaning very little, we'd see changes so that most of the squad were getting some decent game time. So it was encouraging that we were back to a more familiar shape in terms of the personnel filling it. Obviously, the shape we started against Arsenal was essentially how we were playing last season, but with the people in it, it was very much a square pegs and round holes. We saw Tess come back into the middle. Leah they dropped back into the back three, and Jodie came in to play central, which I keep saying all the time that I think that's where she'll play her best football. And she came in and along with the rest of the team put in a power of work. It was a far more competitive game for us, against Atletico Madrid. It was quite unfortunate that nobody showed any sort of interest in streaming it anywhere. None of the clubs were, Atletico weren't doing it, or don't know if that's because they changed their team quite so much. They not so much gave up in the game, but decided to take a different approach. The two best players that we saw for Atletico when they played Rosenborg were both on the bench, which was obviously a bonus for us. And we certainly competed very well in the game, but as much as we had more chances going forward, and on another day might have taken one or two of them, most of the shots we had were straight at the keeper.
Yeah, and it was the same kind of story as Arsenal conceded just before half time. Disappointingly, obviously, after having a couple of chances that we couldn't take, and then obviously conceding just before half time again, and then the second half conceding another couple of goals, which from the highlights seemed like they could have been avoided as well. They were very scrappy again, and something that we're really going to need to look at and try and rectify that going on the rest of the season.
The basics of losing the goals is going in for challenges that we can't win, and then leaving us exposed in behind. It's why we lose goals against Celtic, and it's largely why we lost the goals against Atletico Madrid. If the defence goes in for challenges higher up the park. They have to win. They have to win the ball, because there's nobody there to cover. Especially with back three, you don't have the fullbacks there tucking in. You're exposed, and that's where the goals came from. I thought Cathy, I think it was for a third goal, was incredibly sort of unlucky. We basically hounded out about 3-on-1 from what I can remember. And then the second one, Jenna makes a great save, but really needs the luck of somebody being there to clear the ball. But it's an Atletico player who gets the ball first. So definitely work to be done. The players are all sort of gutted and know the levels they have to be at. But, this is the sort of perils of being in the league path of the qualifying. Even some of the other teams we could have faced would have been far, far easier in opposition than Arsenal and Atletico Madrid. We've really, really been unlucky with that draw, but it's certainly an example for the players to see exactly where we want to be at and the level we want to be at. Can take a lot of encouragement from how the young players played when they came on, or the ones that started against Atletico Madrid. Mia Macaulay and Flashes played really well. I think overall she's going to have much better games through the season, but there's certainly flashes. Love McLaughlin, absolutely best player in the park, not just for us, but overall between both teams. Love is outstanding. She seemed a lot more comfortable having Tess next to her. This isn't to say that Leah done a bad job per se against Arsenal, but she's got that very defensive mind on. She wasn't sort of progressing so much as somebody who's used to playing in midfield well. So, Ellie Austin came on, Laura Berry came on, and they showed up well. Jodie put in a really good shift, and she's not played much this season. I think she's had a couple of niggles, so it was good to see her getting the minutes under her belt. But I think all the players would have been glad to have full-time whistle, because Joe talked them through every single minute of that game. We were sat just behind the dugout, and Joe just talked him and shouted him through every single sort of moment of the game. So I think the players will have had a wee bit of rest once it came off.
Yeah, so obviously 2 defeats in our Champions League journey's over before it really began, but a good experience for the players nonetheless. A learning experience, a learning curve, kind of way to show them that they really need to win the league to get an easier draw, potentially. It obviously changes a wee bit next season with like the extra kind of Europa League setup, but still it'll also highlight to Joe and the backroom staff areas that need improved going forward for this level of football.
Yeah, we've got to remember there's a few debuts in there. Probably half the team it's debuts, but especially for the young players, Laura, Mia, Ailey, Liv. I don't know. She's played in the Champions League before, probably. I don't know. There's a few debuts in there, and then Mia Macaulay got her 50th game for Rangers, which is crazy that's happened already, but she did play 90% of the games last season, so not really surprised. But yeah, as you say, it is kind of highlights areas that they need to look at strengthening or working on in training, things that they need to improve on. But it's things that we've already seen last season, so it's things they should be working on already. But again, works in the SWPL, not going to work against teams of that caliber. So yeah, it's certainly an experience for everyone. It was a good trip, all in all, minus probably the football. It was a good time. Good to see so many people there. We had a lot of fun annoying the Arsenal fans round about us, singing songs and being general menaces to try and cheer the team up, but I don't think it really worked. And that's all they can do, is just the league and the cups are the focus now. Got to go out and win those. You win the league, you get a bit of an easier draw going into the Champions League next year. You drop out there, you've got another competition. So potential more money, more ties, and potential to get better caliber, not saying better than we've already got, but in general better players into the squad. You can entice them with that promise.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alan, we're back to reality. back to the SWPL. We face Spartans next Sunday, so a bit of a break for you in particular after all your travelling. Spartans at home next week. Tickets are already on sale, and it should be a game that we go out and score a few goals in.
You would like to think so. It's what I've called a soft landing for us coming back to reality, because the fixture list's got to get very, very tough for the next few weeks. So getting back into a run starting with Spartans at home, then Spartans will come with their tails up. They've got the first points on the board today. Comfortably beating Montrose up at Lynx Park. So Spartans will come out just a wee bit of confidence and maybe just want to hold us up a wee bit. Knowing that we're coming back off Europe and a couple of bad results. So Spartans have always proved, no matter our league position, a sort of tough and stuffy opposition. So, team of 8 days to prepare for the game and rest up. So many players get an extra couple of days off and spend with families after Europe. So we get back into it. They'll be itching to sort of get back in sort of winning form and start hitting the back of net again. I'll be massively disappointed if not even scored in the 2 European games. That would have made such a difference for everybody there, having something to cling on to and celebrate a wee bit. But certainly the players made a big deal of telling everybody how much they appreciated the support. So it was great to see that the players noticed that, and that it was good for them.
Yeah, Car, so we watched the game Spartans played today because it was on BBC Alba against Montrose, and Spartans were obviously the better team. They did win 3-0, but nothing too threatening that should be being the key words. But as always, though, it's against us, so they'll probably be a bit more stuffy and kind of play the low block. But with the form that we've came into before the Champions League, if we hit that kind of form again, it should just be another 3 points on the board and hopefully a few goals to that goal difference.
Yeah, I mean, Spartans haven't started the season great. They've struggled a bit, and the games we played against them previously is kind of varied, whether they've sat in a low block or they've actually come out and tried to play football at times. So I don't know. They'll probably sit a bit more defensively just because they've seen how many goals we put past teams that they've struggled to beat. I'm hoping the players come back a bit angry. I'm hoping they come back with a bit of a fire in their belly to go out and score a load of goals and kind of get back to it. I'm hoping their heads don't drop a bit and they're a bit gutted or disappointed about it, because going out and conceding against Spartans isn't going to help anything. So I really hope everyone comes back just ready to go. And on paper, we should absolutely thrash them. If you look at some of the results they've already had, losing quite a few goals. So it's definitely a team we can go out, especially at home, and score a few goals past.
Yeah, so Alan, score prediction?
It's hard to say how we'll come out. Our Spartans will be stuffy, but as Carl says, I think they'll probably come out a bit annoyed and a bit pent up frustration. So I'll say 11-0. We'll get back to keeping clean sheets.
That'll do, Car. What do you think?
We'll go the reverse of Arsenal, and we'll score 6-0.
I'll go with the favoured 9-0 because we seem to like scoring 9. So I'll stick with 9. I'll just need to remember that for when I'm putting my prediction in. It's always, I'm like, what have I said to the podcast? But anyway, so Alan, how did everyone do the predictions this week? Obviously, we weren't in there, but there was quite a few good results in there.
There was a lot of low scores in the predictor this week. Very few people had Aberdeen Dundee United drawing. Very few people had Spartans winning away at Montrose. And what was the other surprise result? Not a lot of people actually had Hearts beating Hibs. So the Friday night game caught quite a few people out. Certainly caught Hibs out, losing 4-0 at home against Hearts. But,
Yeah.
For anybody who watched that was a thoroughly impressive display by Hearts. But top scores, where Amanda Bryce and Ellen Wallace get 14 points each. So I've updated the table and it'll be posted on the Facebook group tonight, or it'll have been posted on Sunday night if you're watching this pod at a later date. The thread will be up in the morning for next week's games. All the games are being played on Sunday, so the thread will stay open till Sunday.
I was raging at Glasgow City. I seen it was 7-0 and I was like, just hold on to 7-0. Then it was 8-0. I was like, couldn't I just had 7-0, eh? Like, what? I think I didn't get Hearts
It's
right.
8 because that's what I predicted, so.
One of these things. So you were at a couple of games today, Alan, watching some of your loan players. So how did they get on and the rest of them?
Well, Mason came on and played the last sort of 25 or 30 minutes or so for Motherwell. She got brought on and played a lot on the sort of left wing, so a wee bit disappointing to see that. You know, Mason's not getting so involved as we'd like to see her playing out on the left. You know, it's certainly not where you've got to see the best of Mason. With pretty much all Murrell's backline being right-footed there, and that general inclination is to go and fire a ball down the right-hand side. So it was a tough shift for Motherwell. You know, Partick were excellent and, you know, scored quite a few decent goals for sort of 20 yards. You know, I think Emily Much in a Motherwell goal will be a wee bit disappointed in one or two of them, but, you know, Mason's keen to obviously get a lot more game time, you know, and hopefully she'll start getting that in a more sort of central position where she can make more an impact. More players playing at Hamilton, you know, Sophie Townsley and Abby Payton are both starting at Hamilton. You know, Sophie starting on the left wing in front of Abby Payton, who's playing at left back. So Sophie had a reasonably quiet game, although she showed some moments of skill and some good control. You know, she played the first 60 minutes, and then Abby's played the full 90. Again, she's shown a wee bit of rawness at times, but, you know, she's shown she's got the physicality to play first team football. You know, she's strong in the tackle. You know, she's got a good touch on the ball. You know, and she's quite happy to get forward from left back. So that's encouraging. And Kirsten Love came on and played maybe about 10 minutes at the end of the game. Got stuck in. You know, the game was getting pretty frantic towards the end, and even though she picked up a head knock, she got back on. She was brave enough to put her foot in the ball and make passes when Hamilton were really struggling to get a foothold in the game. So thoroughly impressive by the girls that were on loan at Hamilton.
I can rewatch as we say, the Spartans game. So Casey McKenna, I think she played about 80 minutes, was it? 83 or something like that. She played the majority of it, but she seemed to have quite an easy wee game. She was up in the wing. Surprising that I messaged you in your chat saying that she was playing further forward when usually she's kind of that wing back position, but she was actually part of a front three, so that was interesting. But like when Ailey was away on loan, it gives her that versatility and experience playing a different position.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't look out of place. She could have scored. I think it was like the 7th or 8th minute that a ball came fizzing across her, and then she just got a toe to it or a little touch on it. Could have potentially ended up in a goal. But yeah, she looked really good. It was quite nice to be able to see her because I've not seen her play because none of their games have been on TV. So it was interesting. But it seems to be a theme when we put players out on loan that they end up playing further forward than where they should be playing. But certainly won't help them learning to play more attacking going forward wise. So maybe we should do that and start throwing Nick and Kathy in the front line and both throw Kirsten out in the back line and see how we get on and see if it changes anything.
Well, we started. Jodie got a run out of Dundee United at right back, didn't she? So Melanie Payton came on for Queen's Park against Glasgow City and acquitted herself quite well by all reports. Had a tough shift up against Emily Whelan, who's going to give defenders a proper hard shift. But unless you've got updates on Livingston and Gapcairn games.
Just having a wee look. I know Summer Laird and Mia MacArthur started for Livingston. That was 1-1. But it looks like Maddie Maxwell was on the bench. I don't know if she come on because the updates aren't very great. But Seems like players are getting quite a few minutes, which is obviously the aim of the game. But I think Motherwell's the weird one with Mason when she's basically the poster girl, but they're not giving her much minutes. So she just went there to be a model, or what's that?
I don't know, it's very strange, isn't it? I mean, for the promotion of this game being I always get them the wrong way around. For Hill, for Park, whichever one they play at.
For Park.
And there we go. I always get them mixed up. And yet she's only playing the last 20 minutes. Bit strange that. Maybe she's the only one that wants to do it and all the other players can't be bothered and she's more than happy to do it. So they just put her at the front page of everything. I don't know, it's very strange, but it is what it is. She's getting some minutes, which is better than nothing, but ideally I'd like her to get a bit more experience, but we can't force her to do that.
Mason does certainly seem to be enjoying the training and getting a lot out of it. So, I'm pretty sure the minutes will come. It's just been, you can see by the fixtures and the results, it's been a tough start to the season for Motherwell. So, hopefully she'll be getting a run of games before too long.
Yeah, it's early in the season, so there's plenty of games for her still to go out and play. So that's always a good thing. But I think we'll just wrap up there. Have you anything else to add?
No.
No, looking forward to getting back to Broadwood next week.
Yeah.
There we go. So get your tickets, they are on sale now, and also the Celtic game tickets are on sale for the third. The third now it's been moved to.
6 o'clock for TV.
Yes.
So
it's going to be obviously on TV, as you said, but the tickets are on sale now for that, so get along to those games and hopefully we hit the ground running and get some points on the board again and get gunning for these trophies. So as always, my thanks to Cara and Alan for joining me.
Thanks, Lauren. Glad that's over.
We'll see you very soon and hopefully see you next week at Broadwood. Thank you.